Yep.
Hi, welcome back to Cambridge Inside Out. I'm Judy Nathans.
And I'm Robert Winters.
Yeah.
So, back in the indoor space,
Yeah.
I was talking about outdoor stuff a lot.
Yeah.
We did have a city council meeting last night.
Short. Is that because
relatively
of all
short.
these budget hearings? Is that why the meetings have been short? Even last week's was pretty short.
You know, this,
I mean, I didn't catch all of it, but it seemed like it didn't go on forever.
that could be a part of it. Yeah, I think
not a lot of, or the policyholders were just kind of okay.
I think if they know that they're going to be coming back like they did this
Yeah.
morning for
Oh,
budget
true. They
hearings
don't wanna
starting
be
at
up
9
late.
a.m., they figured, well, we'll
Yeah.
be putting in my 4 to 8 hours on Tuesday, so let's
Right.
try and make it short
Maybe.
and sweet on Monday.
I would say they wanted to watch the Bruins and Celtics, but I don't think too many of them did that, but whatever.
Yeah, I think the mayor might.
No, he had an emergency.
I know that's what it was listed as. Yeah.
No, he said it. He got
Yeah.
a text. He said, I have to leave.
Yeah,
Family
well,
emergency.
Yeah.
I thought that when I first turned it on because I hadn't seen it. I said, he wants to see the Bruins.
Maybe.
But no, I hope everything's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But the thing is, so budget hearings are happening or happened today. I didn't tune in. I actually did last.
Do you know the schedule of them? Or are they
It's
here?
over. The only.
Oh, they're all over? Oh,
The city
okay.
budget ones are now over as of today.
All right.
There's still the school department budget, which I believe is tomorrow
Oh.
evening at 6.
Which is normally when they would have a meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I think the next city council meeting, it's either the next one, or else the 20th. I'm not sure. Is when they would then do the budget approval.
I see.
The vote, the official vote, which is honestly a foregone
Pretty just
conclusion.
pro forma. Is that
The
word?
the manager, with some consultation with city councilors, comes up with a budget. They go through the formalities of the hearings, and people do ask about some specific
Yeah.
programmatic things. They rarely talk about the actual budget matters, which
You're
is
talking
some-
about in the hearings.
in the hearings.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like, well, why is it costing this amount of money, and why aren't you spending more money on this, whatever. It tends to be more about the programmatic stuff rather than the
Yeah.
budgetary stuff. And I remember when Marjorie Decker was the chair of the finance committee, she used to get really irate about that. He said, these are budget hearings. This is not a chance for, if you want to have a roundtable meeting to have the people from, let's say, human services programs, to sort of talk about the programmatic
So
stuff.
she
we
felt
could do
like you
that.
shouldn't focus on that.
Yeah, and if that meant having a relatively short meeting where you just dealt with just the budget stuff, great, But
Yeah.
but I think sometimes the council feels relatively powerless because
Yeah.
all they can do
Well,
for the
because
most.
of the kind of system it is. They
Yeah,
don't,
so you pass orders asking the manager, but then the manager runs the departments,
Right.
and it's technically a felony for you to lean on, for an elected
Right.
official to lean on a department head. So this becomes their one legal opportunity to lean on department heads, and they do it.
So
Often,
you said you did not watch it or you didn't go
I
to
didn't.
it?
I only.
So all these groups
I
went
caught
today?
the videotape for last week's one, and I haven't
Okay.
checked out this one, so I have no
So this
idea.
is Public Works is on this one.
There were 8 budgets
Water.
pulled at the one today. Yeah.
Oh,
and,
so this isn't what was pulled.
No, there were I think Public Works, Water Department, Community Development, maybe Library, Human Services, a couple of others are the ones that got pulled. So that they waved the other ones on through. There's nothing particularly controversial. And then they kind of needle down on
Yeah.
some specific matters. I think at the budget hearings last week, most of it was routine. I kind of fast forwarded through most of it, quite honestly. It got a little interesting when they were talking about public celebrations. Public celebrations includes the Arts Council.
That was today or the other day?
That was last week.
I was going to say, 'cause yeah.
But the thing is, under the umbrella of the Arts Council
Yeah.
includes a payment, because it is a budget item, to support the Cambridge Multicultural Arts Center. And that got very testy. That was really the only place where they seemed to be some, a little hostility between the elected officials and the person who's the executive director of the Cambridge Multicultural Arts Center. And I think they actually only passed their budget pending some information to be given about, basically an accounting for where the money goes, where it where it comes from, and
I
whatever.
thought you're not supposed to do that.
You can do it if it's specifically just asking
about
for an
money.
accounting
I
and
see.
such. You're
Okay.
not. You know, what's absolutely illegal is if you were to sort of lean on and say, I want you to hire my friend Billy
Right.
to work someplace, or, you know, you better not do this or else.
But
That's
but don't
not
they
allowed.
submit their budget?
There
Don't
is
they-
the
aren't there
formal
figures?
budget, but the thing is
It's
you know,
not line item or.
you know, it is and it isn't. And the other thing too is that when you write your submission, your page or several pages of the budget book, it's kind of a sales pitch in some respects. It
Yeah.
says, this is how wonderful we are.
It's like
this
an
is what
annual
we
report.
did.
Yeah.
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 And you know, and if there's something that's a little questionable
Yeah.
in your department, you're
Right.
not going to see that in there.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. So there was some controversy over, you know, honestly, I think it was because the Bridge Repertory Theater wasn't getting renewed as a participant, a funded
Wow.
artist in resident or whatever you want to call it at the Multicultural Arts Center. You know, a similar thing actually happened some years ago, also in the public celebrations budget, when there was some issue about the Cambridge Multicultural Arts Center, strange as it seems,
Yeah.
that was the technical lease held the deed for the
Oh, I
old
remember
dance
that.
complex in
Yeah.
Central Square.
Right, right,
And then was saying, we want more money from you.
right.
And they said, well, you know, we're not, we're the ones who initiated, this is the folks from the dance complex. We're the ones that initiated, this was supposed to be just a formal arrangement because you were the nonprofit entity that was gonna
Right,
be
it was separate, right?
you were gonna be, just hold the title. That didn't mean we were supposed to become
Yeah.
a profit center for you. So it became, they
that's
actually
interesting.
held up some amount of money
How
in
did
their
that get
budget.
resolved?
I think they eventually passed the budget through, but I think the dance complex was able to get more autonomy as a result of it.
I would hope
So
so.
that was
yeah.
that's
That's
some pretty
interesting.
real hard
And
ball.
I think that director's gone probably. I don't think it's the same one. He was a man back then, wasn't it?
Maybe so.
Is it a woman now?
Yes,
Yeah.
Shelley Neal is at
Yeah,
the
she's
Multicultural Arts
relatively
Center.
new, I think. Yeah.
She's been in that
well,
position
maybe
for 20
5
years.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Wait, Cambridge Multicultural Arts Center?
Yep, 20 years. 20 years.
Well, maybe it's the artistic director. Maybe there's a
Maybe,
different position.
yeah, yeah, some of these things do change. But anyway, most of these budget items are kind of just nothing, right? You know, they're just like, well, wouldn't it be nice if la 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 la, right? But that got a little testy, and I'm sure that something will be resolved on this here, but it was kind of interesting. I have no idea if things got testy today. You know, they had the budgets of,
yeah.
well, they had things
It
like
is
the
televised, so you can go look at
you
your
can
videos.
check the video. You know,
And by the way, I made a mistake. The school committee, that's a special meeting at Sullivan Chamber tomorrow night for the school committee budget. Tonight, they are having a regular school committee meeting. So
exactly.
I was thinking
Yeah.
today was Monday, whatever, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the sort of the budget process, and again, I think as Tim Toomey once famously pointed out, after a big battle over something involving one of the city departments and withholding funds, and they insisted on denying, maybe it was the community development department, some amount of money for some item. In the end, Tim Toomey got to famously say, well, I just want everybody to realize we just reduced the budget by 0.00027% or something like that.
So all this time.
You know, it's,
Yeah.
you know, the city council ultimately does have the final authority in their vote, but, you know, maybe because there's at least a little bit of cooperation during the budget process, so that by the time the city manager submits the budget, there's no real surprises.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are requests, and I think there are some requests now for some supplemental appropriations that are not part of this budget.
Yeah.
The manager could come back between now and the finish and throw in a little bit to sweeten the pot for some sort of favored initiatives. That may happen, or that may happen after the fact. I mean, just because you pass the budget doesn't mean you can't come back a bit later and seek supplemental appropriations down the road.
So can you, I remember last year I tried to find the different departments and who's under them. And there's a big budget book and there's a smaller one, right?
Yeah, I don't actually.
And I know the library had a copy, but they weren't, I mean, if you wanted to see, okay, how many employees do they have? What do they get paid?
The positions list.
Because I was just looking at your thing and it
yeah.
doesn't show up.
There is a positions list
Okay.
that I do have.
Well, I go to this.
But that's
and
in
it
the
comes-
regular budget book.
Okay.
You know, and that just says how many employees. It doesn't tell you who or how much people are paid.
Okay.
There is the detailed list that is on record, and you can look it up. It used to be in the library. I would
That's what I
occasionally
was
go
going to
down
say.
there
That's,
and take a picture of some of the,
yeah,
pages.
so you're saying the main library should have it?
They should
'Cause
have
they had
that.
it last year, but they had even an older. I'm
Yeah.
just hoping.
It's actually interesting to
Should
see
be
the line
current.
item.
Yeah, I
shows
did.
that.
I chose to.
Yeah,
look
so
at
that's
that.
not what they have. Maybe the counselors have that, but that's not what they give out to the
No,
public
they give a
generally.
more executive summary. I mean, it's more
Yeah.
basic. Like this is the budget for the department,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not necessarily how many
Well,
employees.
they
and what
have it
get
for
paid.
certain initiatives and the
Yeah.
number of employees, but they're certainly not laying
Not
out like,
like
you know, how
what do
much
they
the
get
department
paid? Like
is getting.
library. I mean, I had to point out to some of the people in the library when they were looking at what. Well, wait a minute, we get paid this and they get paid that. Wait a minute.
I think actually the Cambridge Chronicle put in a link. They actually have the whole database. You can just
Really?
you can sort it. You can do that
Without being a subscriber.
without being a subscriber. Yeah, so
Okay.
you can
Is
do
that
that.
Cambridge Wicket local? I can't. Keep
Yeah,
up.
yeah. The Boston Herald used to do the same thing periodically, and
Oh,
it's
the
sort of
poor Boston Herald.
you know, and it, honestly, they
They
usually
still
do it
around?
just to show how many police officers are in
Oh,
the
right.
top.
Oh, well, they always do like who the
Because they
top
get the
salaries
because the
and
detail,
overtime.
you know,
and-
even
yeah.
if the detail money is paid
Right.
privately,
Yeah.
it's funneled through. So
True.
they are listed
Right.
as making, you know, $250,000 a
Right,
year,
exactly.
you know, for Officer Joe, right?
Yeah.
So
Who cannot? I mean, I remember the article about somebody here in the police force that can't afford to live here, and they make 200 and something thousand. Did you
Right.
read that article?
yeah, so
I don't.
you know,
I don't get all that.
that
but,
is kind of the sweet part about being a
Yeah,
Cambridge
I guess.
police officer is that if you can get in on the detail work, then you can actually do rather well.
Yeah, but still not live here. Apparently.
Maybe not,
I think
yeah.
there's got to be more
Yeah.
to a story than that.
Right.
So
anyway, that's
so that
the
was
line
all
item.
the budget stuff. So
The
that's
budget
what they've
stuff.
been busy with that, and
So,
then
yeah, and so, but this is just that one little window in May every year when they.
So you
go
think
through
they
that.
don't have to have another one because they probably wrapped up today because there was another day.
They always
in the meeting.
list a
Thursday or-
Thursday
yeah.
for, if necessary, to
Right.
have another budget hearing. But
Mm-hmm.
I believe I remember one year when they did that. It's pretty rare that they'll ever do it.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure they will not be doing it this year. So, you know, I mean, honestly, the counselors don't want to come in for the extra
No.
meeting anyway. So
No,
they'd probably have a hard time getting a quorum
no, true.
for that purpose. So.
Oh,
So if
geez.
anything, they'll just waive
Yeah.
the budget and then just kick and scream and yell. So anyways, there was.
If
at-
necessary, yeah, it was supposed to be
if
Thursday.
necessary,
Okay.
yeah. Now at the council meeting last night, which I have not been going up there on Monday nights.
Why do you have to go up when you can watch it on your television or your?
You know,
well,
for
your
me, going up to the city council was a little bit like the civic equivalent
I
of going
know,
to
but-
church on Sunday. It
I
was-
know, but
you would meet
it's a-
people. I would.
Well, you like to gab and do with all
Yeah,
that.
I would
yeah.
talk to people I know
Right.
who work within some of the departments.
But then you weren't paying attention to what was going on in the meeting.
No, they have a TV. You can
Ah,
tune
yeah,
into some
okay.
of it, and you go in for the parts where you
Yeah,
want
so
to be
you
in
wanted
on
to
it,
schmooze with the people.
and then you
around
schmooze
it,
out
yeah.
in the corridor,
Yeah.
and you know that's actually been okay. Not so enamored of it anymore, quite honestly. But so I'll go up occasionally,
Okay.
but not as a regular thing so much anymore. But I do tune in a bit after the fact and just to
Yeah.
do a quick run through to make sure I know what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I for the last few years I've been annotating my my agenda list.
Yes, to see
to say
like
what
what's
actually
of interest
happened,
and
what
what-
was
yeah.
approved, or whatever. And I mean,
Yeah.
the city clerk says the same thing, but
Yeah.
I do it sort of for my own records as well,
Yeah.
just so I can look things up quick and easy. But so they did a few things. There was rather minor item. There was a zoning petition that was filed last year for up a new street.
Oh,
where there
George
was-
Backrack.
George Backrack
Who
was
used to
sort
be
of
our-
the lawyer for
yeah.
it, and it was they were trying to build a self-storage facility there.
But there is a self-storage facility.
I think this is
they
a-
want to add on
I
to
think
it.
they want to maybe grow it. I'm not 100%
Well,
sure.
actually, I looked at the map, and because I have some stuff at Cambridge Self-Storage, but it's not on that street.
Yeah,
So
so
maybe
this-
they want to build more.
This is
I don't
either
know.
in addition to that,
Well, it's near the Evolve Fitness Center, so New Street.
and that was
literally-
part of the
I know.
controversy. I think
Right.
at least one
Are you gonna
elected
let them keep their?
at least
yeah.
one elected official goes to that gym. And
Oh,
part of
really?
the
Okay.
the original
Okay.
proposal, I think, would have eliminated the gym. So this
Must
was
have
not
been-
going
it's
over
gotta
very
be a
well.
North Cambridge person.
Or west.
Or
and
west, yeah.
So anyway, I think in the new one they're actually going to have some
They'll have space.
maybe some housing.
Yeah.
maybe the place
There's
for a
already
gym.
housing going up there, so I don't know if that's part of it.
Well, it's different. That's the
Not Wheeler.
The modular. No, on New Street.
Yeah,
Yeah, but this is closer to where the little rotaries are,
okay,
by Bay State Road.
okay.
So-
Where the Sozio appliance, is
Yeah,
that
close
gone?
to the Sozio Rotary.
That's
No,
still
that's
there?
still there. That's still there.
All right.
I mean, what else would we call the Rotary if Sozio
I
went
don't
away?
know. I don't know.
Right. But so I think so. It's a more anyway. It's a different petition. So it got reintroduced for a second bite at the apple, and maybe it'll get a little more traction
So,
this time.
And
It went nowhere last time.
right. I mean, with everything going on, I just think they've done their due diligence. But
Yeah.
you know what?
I do get a kick sometimes how they'll fight over the fact that that's going to be 35 feet high. It's going to be 40 feet high. Meanwhile, down here in Central Square, it's like, well, what's that? 185 feet. People in East Cambridge are.
Also, that
griping
is sort
about
of an industrial kind of like area. You've got that the garden center that down
Yeah.
there. You've
Oh,
got,
yeah.
I don't get it.
It used to be the road, road to the
Yeah.
dump in there too. So
JB Sash was
Yeah.
down there. Is that
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know if they're still there, but anyway, it's an evolving
Well, hopefully
area.
they will get to do what they need to
Right.
do.
But that was a very minor one. That was just a
Yeah.
reintroduction. The accessory, in addition to
yeah.
the Barrett petition of a few years ago that passed, there was one provision that was not included in that, but it got reintroduced for.
Oh,
some,
it was not included. I thought that. Okay, so I get
this was just
confused.
another idea for.
What was
To
the-
allow, in fact, I don't even know the particulars other than the fact that Craig Kelly was pushing hard for this.
So it wasn't part of the Barrett petition? I thought the
I
Barrett
think it was-
petition was about accessory.
It was, but the thing is, I think that when Patrick originally wrote it, there were some
Yeah.
other provisions that were
Okay.
not actually part of
All right, I
what was
don't know.
actually introduced.
Hmm.
So it was reintroduced and anyway passed on a 8-0 to 1
It
vote.
allows homeowners to create more housing within their own
Yeah.
building,
Right.
right?
And I think
Without all this.
there's at least one person who's been coming up to public comment lately, largely in the context of this overlay proposal, basically making a case where, in existing structures, there's actually a tremendous amount of capacity for additional units. If people are, for example, if you're a person who's just looking for a small studio
Yeah,
apartment,
right.
and there's a largish building out
Mm-hmm.
in the tonier suburbs of Cambridge, in West Cambridge, you could put in quite a few units within an existing building
Mm-hmm.
and provide a lot of units of housing. It wouldn't necessarily be or you
You'd
could
have
chop
to
it
pay
up.
for it yourself as the homeowner. There wouldn't be any incentives, not like going with the overlay with the homeowners rehab and the city
Right.
affordable housing. It would be your own, but
But then
Yeah.
you'd get income,
yeah.
to cover it. Yeah, so
But
so you could get a loan to
so
do
this
it.
hopefully relaxes some of all the because it's going through the city's permit stuff. I mean, I'm experiencing this,
Right.
not myself, but it's not easy.
It would be interesting for
easy.
me to see a quantification of how
Yeah.
much housing capacity is generated.
You're
by
saying as
things
an
like-
alternative to everything else they're doing?
Yeah,
But
I
then
mean-
you're relying on the goodwill of citizens that have the capacity to
Yes.
do that. Good luck on that one. Sorry. I mean, I'm sort of in the middle on all this. I think that
Yeah.
if they had their druthers, they're not, they want to keep that space to themselves. They don't want to,
Right. Right. But, I'm always, I often think about this, and I may have mentioned this in some previous week, of when I was on an advisory committee for water and sewer matters. I was one for the city, but then I was actually one for the MWRA for a while, and I got these big reports for how they were going to deal with the problem of combined sewer overflows. So they came in with a $1.4 billion deep tunnel storage plan, which was like sort of the big solution. And then in the end, they settled on the $384 million, like a quarter the cost of basically fixing the existing system and maximizing capacity. And that's actually giving you a better product than the $1.4 billion plan. And I always think about that because a lot of times people come in with sort of the big idea
Yeah.
because they think they're going to solve something because there's a crisis and whatever. When in fact, actually, better solutions are actually already there on the
I'm
table.
going to put out a gripe here that this is a 20, 30-year-old gripe. But when where I used to live, which was a 4-unit building. It was under rent control originally. And the landlord, who was my ex anyway, proposed to the rent control board, I will build 2 extra units that would be subsidized if you give me these 4. There was no rental history.
Yeah, right.
They said, oh no.
No, we've
No,
got the
now,
big idea.
and you know what? To this day, I probably could be living in one of those extra
right.
units, and I can't go back there because
Well,
they're too big for me.
this is the
So
problem.
I'm just saying, it was so stubborn, and this was right before the whole thing went out the window, and it's because of things like that
Yes.
that the small property owners just got fed up.
That's
you know,
right.
really. I mean,
That's
I know
really-
I'm generalizing,
it's
but
true. You know,
and now, and I said to said person, I said, you could do that now. They probably encourage it, but it just costs too much now.
right. But you know, we,
egress and all this, and,
right.
and new
But
stairways.
we go
and-
through
yeah.
these periods where somebody, either
Ah.
whether it's city people
Yeah.
or elected
It just-
people,
it's
whatever,
rigidity.
they
It's
have
like,
a rigidity about
yeah.
this is the one and only
Yeah.
way to think about things.
Right, you
and then
own
they
this
just
property, we're going to
continue
keep
to
it
sell
there.
it,
And
and
also,
that's
they
it.
felt like they owned the real estate, and you don't own. And this whole rent control thing is coming up on the state level.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really going to go anywhere, but the
Well,
thing is,
there's
it's
two
part of
different,
the rhetoric.
It's
Uh,
part. Yeah, I don't know how.
Well,
it
I mean,
fits
what's
in with
happening
the-
is people like Connolly, that
I know.
crazy
yeah.
representative.
all right, keep it.
He's
It's not just
pushing
Connolly.
it because it's.
Marjorie Decker, I think, is behind it. No.
I think she was listed as a name on one thing,
Oh,
but I don't know
right.
really where that's going. But the
Yeah.
thing is that my understanding is actually up at the State House. These are not being well received, but the thing is
Yeah.
that the press releases are going out from these
Right.
from the
Well, that's
sponsors.
true, yeah.
So they're sort of trying to sell it in the press,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's such a great thing.
Hmm.
So anyway, that was part of what happened. One other thing, just a very brief note
Yeah.
here, which was that the last committee meeting of on this overlay proposal came out with a city council order referring the matter to the ordinance committee for future analysis, discussion, and whatever. And then sort of late in the meeting last night, Denise Simmons came in and amended the order that had come out of the committee meeting to not just to refer it, but to refer it as a finished zoning petition,
Wow.
to which can still be amended, and referred it to the planning board and ordinance committee to start the clock ticking as a zoning petition. The only reason why I was particularly sensitive about this is that there were
Yeah.
some people I know who actually were kind of pleased at the end of that housing committee meeting that in fact it was actually going to be open to some further
You're talking about the
refinement.
meeting they had that the committee
a couple
report
weeks
was
ago,
based
yeah,
on? Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, then they just switched it at the end of the meeting,
Wow.
just to say, no, it's a zoning petition now. See ya, bye.
Now, could
Yeah.
they had enough votes?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping.
Toomey
that-
did not vote, right? Oh, no, the
that
one
on
vote was
another
just
matter.
McGovern.
Yeah. So
so they all voted for it.
I think they're viewing the referral
Well,
as
it's
zoning
just
as
gonna
a
have to go-
formality. I mean,
Right,
nobody really,
right.
rarely do you object to
That's
those
true,
referrals.
because you still have to
but-
go through a lot of,
Yeah. And we'll
Okay.
see. It's happening. But
Wow.
it's already, it's quickly emerging as one of the major political hot potatoes of this election year.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Speaking of election years, we did
Oh,
get
yeah.
now officially one more additional new candidate
Where
this
is
year.
that list? Is that on something here?
It's further down, I think,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah,
But anyway, I think I've actually mentioned his name a couple of months ago. A fellow named Burhan Azim.
Yeah,
As he was an
Here it
MIT
is. You wanna
student.
show it,
I
it's
think
here.
he's a senior. Oh yeah, we could take a quick look right here. All right,
so that's this person down here.
yeah. So this is the list right now. So Adrian Musgrave was a
Birth year, 1997.
Yeah,
That's young.
he's 22
My
years
daughter's
old.
31, so he's on.
He's a senior at
22?
MIT. He's
Oh,
I believe he's a
jeez.
graduating senior. He's
Oh my goodness.
totally in tight with the ABC people.
Of course.
I believe he was sort of organizing some of the MIT people to
Wow.
come out to, over this overlay thing, which is, as they say, the big hot potato.
There's a lot of young guys. Well, Adrian, she's not. Oh, no, she's not that. She's 84, 85. Okay,
Right,
but they're
yeah.
in their 30s. Okay.
So Adrian Musgrave is was a candidate last time.
Oh, yeah, there are
the
young
next 5 in this list: Charles Franklin, Yvonne Sabrina Wheeler, Nicola Williams, Ben Simon, Burhan Azim.
Boy,
are all
Nicola
5.
Williams really stands
new
out. I
ones.
hate to say it, but 1963. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Actually, one of the things that's interesting is see some of those candidates, not all
Yeah.
of them, but some of them are actually raising rather significant
Oh,
amounts
really?
of money. Yeah, I think Adrian Musgrave in particular is basically piling it on
You're
to
kidding.
get
Wow.
a bit of a financial
here we go.
advantage early.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not convinced that money is the driving thing so much, but you do need some. But you know, there are some spectacular examples in recent years, recent municipal election years, of people who raised and spent the most money not even being elected. So, you know,
Mark
you know,
McGovern's
and,
raised a lot of money.
yeah, oh yeah.
Well, that's, yeah.
You know, but
Charles
but it's not a given that money is what gets. You still have to build a network.
Okay, why do you have that up there?
Oh,
That's
the
not
ABC.
a candidate, but
Oh, yeah, just what you're referring to.
yeah,
Is
I
it
don't
because,
understand why you have that.
because the A Better Cambridge group is raising money for the purpose of backing candidates, and in fact, in there, when you look at the financials, you see the candidates are paying into it. So it is very much.
I don't understand what you mean by that. What do you mean they're paying into it?
They are supporting it because it is. I believe they have every intention
Of
of running
getting
a
money.
slate of candidates
Okay.
and being a major player in the municipal.
Has that ever
election.
been done before, like that?
No, we have had entities like the Cambridge Civic Association that certainly set up a separate
Right, and they had
uh,
their slate
right, and they had the slate which was endorsed
But
by
they
the
weren't
board
like
of the
a PAC,
CCA.
were
It
they?
was not.
officially, or was
no,
it?
there
Maybe
was-
now it would be. That's a
Cambridge
long
Civic
time ago.
Association was never really officially much of anything.
Right.
It was just a
Right.
civic association.
Right. Well, it's like the
association.
Cambridge Residents Alliance.
Right.
Or the, you know.
CCA was never registered with
Yeah.
the state or anything like
Right.
that. So this is different. This is really, they're running it like a political party. And,
that's
you know, and they're playing hardball. And you can see already
Yeah.
candidates are essentially pledging fealty to, you know, the
Wow.
ABC leadership and with the, with the
I
presumption.
can't wait to those forums. Oh,
You
boy.
know, it's going to be a weird election.
Actually, I can't wait.
You know, and I think some candidates are expecting to sort of have the protection
Yeah.
of the organization to sort of cover themselves.
Well, they better hope that.
yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't, you know, and it's probably it's a one hand clapping. There's no other side to the process here. So it's basically independent candidates against the well funded organization. So
Well, I'll be curious to see which city council candidates are going to be under
Yeah.
that umbrella.
anyway,
Anyway, we've got to go.
we'll
We'll
see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.